same as qala. So why did they put the two lessons together? The same thing. I'm going to say qala, qala, qalu, qalat, qalata, qulna. And then qulta, qultuma, qultum, qulti, qultuma, qultunna, qultu, qulna. And then I'm going to do the same thing with kana. The meaning, it means he was, or it was. So kuntu, I was, kanu, who was, right? And so this is extremely common in the Quran to hear he said, because people are always speaking. And it's extremely common in the Quran to find kana. وَمَا كَانُوا مُهْتَدِينَ. And they were not guided. Okay? So the conjugation is exactly the same as qala. So if I know qala, then I know kana. If I know kana, I know sama. If I know sama, I know tala. Any other verb that has a wow in the middle, exactly the same.
What are the words that have wow in the middle? Is it a limited set?
No, in principle, if you think about it, yeah, in principle, you should have a combination of, if there's 28 variables for the first letter and 28 variables for the last letter, and then it has a wow in the middle, then how many is that going to be? 28 times 28. Not plus, times.
624.
624. 28
times 28.
Is 624?
596.
So if it was 30 times 30, that would be what? That would be 9,000, right?
900.
So we're talking something like 8,000 words. So you say, give me a limited list of 8,000 words. It's going to be lots of words, right? Okay? It reminds me of an Indian friend I had at school. I was waiting in the dinner queue. In England, we say the line. And my brother, who was 2 years older, he asked his kid, a Hindu kid, he said, what's 7 times 7 times 7? Just like that. He's in grade 6, just like that. What? I don't know what it is. What's 7 times 7 times 7? So 350 minus 7, 343, something like that. Yeah, 40, but he was like that, 343 without thinking. Right? So 28 times 28. If you know 28 times 28 without thinking, mashallah, right? Human calculator. Okay, so that's on the word level. In terms of conjugation, how do I make the verb? It's like that. Now, what is going to add in this unit is qala is a normal verb. How does a verb work? You get verb followed by noun. That noun is in the nominative. Okay, has a dhamma or something like that, and it says this is the subject of this verb. That's the normal structure in Arabic. Assalamu alaikum. How's it going? Okay. So that's the normal structure of the verb.
Verb followed by noun.
Verb followed by noun. Simple as that. That's what we've seen so far. So qala works in the same way. When we're looking at qala, there is nothing grammatically complex. We're looking at the structure of the verb is complex, but nothing grammatically complex. But with kana, there is something grammatically complex because you have a new structure. So there is a whole grammatical structure which is called kana and its sisters. Kana and its sisters, they assume a certain grammatical structure. Okay, and these are like linking verbs in English. Okay, linking verbs. So a linking verb in English, you can't just have the verb and the subject, right? So it says, for example, the milk turned. It's not a sentence. It seems. That is not a sentence. It's not a sentence. You have to say, it seems strange, funny, awkward, something. You've got to put something there because the whole point of seems is X seems Y. That is the grammatical structure of this sentence. Okay? The milk turned sour. Right? The milk turned pink. Something. Right? You can't just have the word. So these are like linking words. So when you can't come along and say, the rain was. That is not a sentence. So what we're going to find then with a kana sentence, okay, we said A, it looks like qala, it looks like sama. That's fine on a morphological point of view in terms of the structure of the word. But the structure of the sentence is going to be like this. Kana plus subject, which is going to be nominative, plus predicate. It has to have a predicate. And that predicate of kana is going to be accusative. That's the structure, without exception. Okay, I'm giving some people headaches, I know. That's my job. That's my job.
No. Get confused with this nominative accusative.
Yeah, so
kasra one, right?
yeah, no, let's put here dhamma. Dhamma and things like dhamma, or here. Dhamma and things like dhamma, fatha and things like fatha.
That's basically the object.
It comes with an object, but look, now it comes with a predicate of kana. That's not an object. So when you say the rain was light, that's not the object of was. Was didn't happen to light. But now this word is also going to be like this. So I'm going to say kana al-mataru, the rain, khafifan. Okay, that is the structure. You have to have three things in it. You can't have two. You can't just say kana al-matar. The rain was, because that's not a sentence. Okay, so now what he's introducing is a structure, a grammatical structure where you have three elements: kana, or a verb like kana, plus the subject of the kana, plus the predicate of the kana. The subject of the kana is always going to be nominative, so dhamma or a thing like a dhamma, and the predicate of kana is always going to be have a fatha or something like a fatha.
I have one question.
Mhm.
Usually a sentence will have a subject, verb, and a predicate. And
Not in Arabic. In Arabic, I can say, for example, ana faridun. There's a subject and predicate there. There's no verb.
Ana is the
Subject, faridun is the predicate. So there's no verb in that sentence. So in English, you cannot have a sentence without a verb. In Arabic, you can. And so the predicate normally is nominative. Ana faridun. Right? Hada masjidun. Right? That's normal sentence in Arabic. But if I say, kana hada masjidan, this was a masjid. Suddenly it's now masjidan. Suddenly it's now, the predicate of kana is actually accusative and not nominative. So it sounds very different. Okay?
very difficult for us to.
Yeah, but so all you need to know is this is the structure of the kana sentence. So was X, Y, whenever you have was X, Y, it's always nominative, accusative. That's the structure. Dhamma fatha or something like it, right? Ka, for example, وَمَا كَانُوا مُهْتَدِينَ in Surah Al-Baqarah. مَا كَانُوا مُهْتَدِينَ. They were not guided people. Ka, nu, muhtadeen. Why deen? Because it should be muhtadun. Normally it's muslimun, but it changes to muslimin if it's an accusative. So the same kind of thing. Kanat Fatimatu talibatan. Fatima was a student, right? Kana Allahu aliman hakima. Not alimun hakimun, right? Ma kana Muhammadun Aba ahadin min rijalikum. So the Prophet ﷺ, or Muhammad was not Aba. That has an alif. The alif is like the same kind of thing that stands instead of the fatha. It's also accusative, not Abu, but Aba. So whenever you have kana, the predicate of kana, then you say X was Y, the Y is always accusative and not nominative.
Kana means
Was or were, yeah.
Where how?
That's it, was or were. So they were or I was.
What is how? How did it happen?
How, that's kaifa.
Okay.
That's totally different, yeah. Yeah, kaifa kana nakir, how. But kaifa kana nakir, right? So even in that sentence, kaifa kana nakir, how was my punishment? Right? How was my punishment? So the word kaifa is the accusative word that you just can't see it because there's no sign on it. You say, so then you ask the question, Allah asks the question, فَكَيْفَ كَانَ نَكِيرٌ. How was my punishment? Wallahi kana nakiruka ya Allah shadidan. Your punishment was very, very severe. Shadidan. Right? The word I would replace kaifa with, would answer it with shadidan. Right? So that's the structure of kana. Okay? And then there are a whole bunch of verbs that fit this structure, but they have the same structure. There's always 3 slots, right? So normally I'm thinking 2 slots, subject, predicate, verb, subject of the verb. There's these 2 essential things that have to be there in a sentence. Now this has 3. The sentence cannot exist without those 3, right? Just like seems. Like you can't have a sentence like, he seems. That's not a sentence.
The genitive one need not be heavy, right? It could be just the u, like kana, some un, and it's like that.
Say it again, sorry.
I'll put this question. The reason I'm asking this question is, after kana, the second word, does it have to be always the heavy version of the word, like Muslimun? Can be Muslimun, like.
It could be something else, like Muslimun. Like, كان المسلمون صالحين. The Muslims were righteous.
So, kana Muslimun salihin.
كان المسلمون, so was or were the Muslims righteous.
So, kana Muslimun.
Moon, that's nominative, and then صالحين, predicate.
Why not salihan?
Salihani is for jewel. You're thinking jewel, but it goes salihuna salihina for plural. Muslimuna muslimina. So there's no Muslim. You're thinking that the salihani is the accusative. It's not. That's the jewel. You're thinking about the jewel. So for the sound plural, it goes muslimuna.
Here we are not even talking the plural, right? We are talking kana.
You're talking about singular. Okay. Kana al-muslimu, the Muslim al-muslimu was salihan. Let's write it. Kana al-muslimu salihan, like that. Okay?
So even if I say Muslimun, it is singular.
Yeah, it's still singular. The point is this word is nominative. That's the point. Whether you want to make it definite or indefinite or whatever, it doesn't. Point is it's nominative.
Oh, because there is
But now this has to be accusative. Yeah? Or if I say, be quiet. Or be calm. Right? Kun hadi, no. Kun hadi an. Kun sakitan, be quiet. Be righteous. Kun salihan. Right? Kun taqiyan, be a person of taqwa. Right? Taqiyan, not taqiyun. Okay? So the X, when you say X was Y, the Y is always accusative. That's all. Make sense? Okay, so let's look at our examples then. So what's the 2 things with kana? A, the structure of it is like qala and any other verb with a waw. So therefore it has the 2 things, and then u. It goes, كان كانت كانتا كان كانوا, and then suddenly كنت كنت. So it shifts like that, right? In kuntum صادقين, right? That's A. So that's just like qala, the same structure. And then B, the sentence structure always has 3 things. Okay, the sentence structure always has 3 things. Kana plus subject plus predicate, and the predicate is accusative. Okay, so let's have an example. Let's look at our examples, inshallah, on the example on that page, 55, on page 55. Good. So ummatun, correct? Ummatun? No, ummatan. Right. And so this is a very interesting thing. كان الناس أمة واحدة فبعث الله النبيين. People were one nation. So people come along and say it's religion is supposed to cause peace. So of the goals of religion is peace. The goals of religion is not warfare and is not strife. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes a point in the Quran and says, you know what happened? Everybody was fine, worshipping the dunya, worshipping false idols. Then Allah said, you know what? I'm going to test people. Let's send them a prophet. And then they became who's on the haqq and who's on the batil. So when Allah sends the truth, there's always a problem. Not because the truth is wrong, it's because people react to the truth in the wrong way. right? That's what happens. And politicians, suddenly there's a whole thing in politics, right? Shouting it, right? Go to Parliament in England, right? They'll start like shouting at each other, right? And it's like, what's happening? Because there's a problem, right? And there's people who are trying to hide themselves and trying to get out of issues, right? When everybody is doing wrong together, we're a team. Then someone comes and says, you know, what you're doing is wrong. And then suddenly there's a split because who wants to acknowledge the truth and who doesn't want to acknowledge the truth, right? Who doesn't want to acknowledge the truth? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, people were one. They were united on doing the wrong. And then Allah sent prophets, said, you know, this is not right. You shouldn't worship idols. You shouldn't do this, right? And so then they became two. And so Allah comforting the Prophet and comforting the Muslims. Why isn't everybody listening to us? Like, if we're on the truth, why doesn't everybody become Muslim? Right? And people ask you that question. If Islam was true, everybody would be Muslim. Like, oh, maybe they're right. Like, no, that's not the sunnah of Allah. The sunnah of Allah is He sends the truth. It's clear enough for people to accept it. Some people accept it, and some people don't. Right? Some people accept. That's just the nature of the world. Okay, so كان الناس أمة واحدة, accusative. Okay. Go ahead.
Can you explain the kana?
So what?
Kana nasu
Su. Good.
is the genitive.
Is the nominative word. Nominative. There's no genitive so far here.
Because the kana should be followed by a
By nominative.
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 Or basically the original form.
The default, yeah.
Default form.
And then this predicate is accusative.
So that ummatun is the
Ummatan is the predicate of kana, and it has a fatha because it is accusative.
so ummatan wahidatan is one word. Basically
No, it's not. We would say ummatan is the predicate of kana, and wahidatan is agreeing with the word that it describes. So it has to agree with number and gender and state and everything.
So it's just an adjective, right? Like
Just an adjective. Wahidatan is
then is an adjective.
adjective of wahidatan, yeah. So but the basic structure is kana nasu ummatan. That is the most basic structure. Right? Just like if I could say, the milk turned unbelievably sour. Is unbelievably grammatically essential? Could I have a sentence without it? You could. That is kind of extra. That is not a fundamental part of the sentence, right? So surprisingly, the milk turned unbelievably sour. Surprisingly is extra, but the basic structure is the milk turned sour. You cut that out, it's not a sentence. You cut this out, it's not a sentence. Cut this out, it's not a sentence. It doesn't work. Like it just doesn't, the whole structure falls apart. Right, would you agree, Mikhail? Or would you think, do you disagree? Think about it. Okay, so that's the basic structure. Okay, 50-50.
Did you guys play the first beat? Too windy, right? You will not be able to give the direction.
Okay, Bismillah.
وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ.
وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. So it's very common that this second predicate thing is hidden. Just like فَكَيْفَ كَانَ نَكِيرٌ. Where is the word that's accusative? Well, a kaifa was the word that's accusative. Yeah, but I can't see it being accusative. Similarly, if the predicate is for example, a prepositional phrase like min al-kafirin or fid dar or fil jannah, kana fil jannah. He was in paradise. Like where's the word that's accusative? There is a word that's accusative. It's a bit more complex, but it's kind of hidden. Just say it's hidden for now. Right?
So if I had to break down the rule, right? What kana, minal.
So kana. So that's your kana.
Kana
Huwa is here. He. It's an implied here. Okay.
Who is the
Implied, yeah. He.
Implied,
Yeah.
implied
Just like when I say this. If I said this, shariba. Full stop. Like, how is that a sentence? You only have one word. Shariba means he drank. Oh, so there's two words. Correct, there's two words there. Shariba means he drank. So similarly, kana means he was, not just was. Okay?
was minal
Of the
kafirin
is thou predicate.
is the predicate.
Yeah, but can you see the accusative of it? No, you cannot. Why? Because it is a prepositional phrase. There's a min. Min obviously is not a noun, so it can't even change. And min makes the word after it genitive. So you cannot see the predicate, the predicate, or you can't see the accusative nature of the predicate. So it's just kind of a bit of an exception.
So, I mean, kafirin is still in the accusative.
No, it's in the genitive because of min. It looks similar. Kafirin you could use also, but this word is in the genitive because of min.
Because of min, it makes.
So we're going to say, in simple terms, min al-kafirin is the predicate, and you cannot see the accusative. It being an accusative.
But min is just a proposition. How is it making the following word?
Because a preposition always makes the following word genitive.
So there is no off here, right? I mean, from if genitive is usually
No, that you're thinking about idafa. You're thinking about x of the y.
Yeah.
This is with a preposition like min, fi, an, ala. Those words always affect the word that comes after them.
min fi an ala.
Exactly. Right? Salamun ala Zaid. Din. Right? Okay? Okay, bismillah. Next example.
إنها كانت من قوم كافرين.
So, innaha, that's extra. Indeed, she was. Kanat, so that's our kana. Kanat, that means, so kanat, here, she was, min qawmin kafirin, from a disbelieving people. From a disbelieving people. So again, the same structure, you can't really see the word that's the predicate that's accusative. It is there. Later on, we'll see how to analyze it fully. But for now, it's like, okay, that happens. But the essential structure is still there, right? She was of so what's the difference then rhetorically? She was of a disbelieving people. She was of the disbelievers. What's the difference? Mikala? So what's the difference between so rhetorically, right? What's the difference between saying he or she was of the disbelievers, she was of the disbelieving people? What's the difference? What does a people have? So there's a bunch of people. Let's say, for example, I got a Martian, a Chinese person, a Japanese person, a Russian person, an Australian person put them together. That's people. But I get people from a particular place, right? A particular people from Helmand, for example, in Afghanistan. Do you think they can have specific food, specific clothes, specific traditions, specific character traits, right? So when you say a people, you're talking about the national thing, right? So she was among a people whose national trait was kufr, right? That's who she was among. That was just how they were, right? And a people whose national trait is consumerism, right? That's who they are, right? So it's different. If you say kana min qawmin kafirin, she was of a people who did this thing. That was part of their qawmiyya. That was part of their national way of being, doing kufr. Allah sends a messenger, we don't listen. That's who we are. Right? So, but otherwise, the same basic structure. Okay, bismillah, next sentence. And she was among the obedient. Sayyidat Maryam alayhi salam, radiallahu anha. Kanat, so kana, here, and then the predicate is min al-qanitin, from among the people who do qunut. So when we say qunut, you do the qunut and witr, for example. This is ibadah, right? She was of the devout and religious people. Qunut, the dua, right? But qunut is we mean a dua, like we mean a specific dua, but qunut means devoutness. So we call it devoutness, being devout to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being dedicated. Right? So here, he's splitting the sentence he's splitting the ayah in two so that we can see the example. But here, this is Sayyidina Yunus alayhi salam. La ilaha illa anta, there is no God but you. Subhanaka, how unbelievably, unfathomably perfect you are. Right? Subhanaka is from the word al-faras as-sabuh, which is a horse that you could never catch up with, right? What is it? The fastest human being ran 33 miles an hour or 36 miles an hour. I don't know what it was. A horse runs 40 miles an hour. This horse is running 45 miles an hour. Okay? You could never run after that horse. It's gone so quickly, right? So when you say Subhanallah, you're saying, I tried to put my mind around Allah, but Allah ran away from me so quickly. I couldn't possibly grasp how amazing it was, right? You look, for example, you managed to get into space and you managed to get within, I don't know, 5,000 miles away from the sun, and you just take a picture of the surface of the sun. You're like, wow. If that's one star in the whole universe, and that's it. It's like, Subhanallah, right? So Subhanallah means I cannot possibly understand who Allah is. He's so utterly amazing.
So where is kana?
He's not. There's no kana in that sentence because he wants to put the whole thing today, because the whole thing says, La ilaha illa anta, there's no God but you. Subhanaka, how glorified beyond description are you. Inni kuntu min adh-dhalimin. Indeed, I have been among the wrongdoers. So that he wanted to put the whole thing together, right? So inni kuntu, yeah, kuntu, I have been, right? I have been. He's just finishing the whole ayah. Inni, indeed, I have kuntu. Was it inni kuntu min adh-dhalimin? I have been among the wrongdoers. So the same structure here. Kun, that's our kana. Tu, that's our subject. And then min al-dhalimin is our predicate. Again, can you see the predicate nature? No, you cannot. But it's the same thing, essentially. So kuntu is two words.
Being, that is the meaning it comes. Instead of was.
Was. I have been, yeah, same thing, right?
Being, was, where?
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. To be, the verb to be.
Is, was.
Yeah, so the thing in Arabic, you don't use kana in the present. When you say I am, you just say ana farid. You don't say I am farid. You say ana akunu faridan. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So you can use it in the past, you can use it in the future, right? You can say, for example, sayakunu, there will be, right? But you can't say, you don't use it in that sense. It's not the same.
Kanu Muslimin.
Kanu. So why isn't it Muslimun?
More than one.
More than one?
Muslimuna.
It is more than one, true, but okay, but why? Muslimuna and Muslimina both mean more than one. So why specifically Muslimin?
This is the accusative.
Accusative because it's a predicate of kana. So where's the subject of kana?
The huwa.
Where?
It's implied.
So it says he, or does it say they?
It's plural. They.
They. So where is the word they?
It's also implied.
It's not implied. It is there. It is the wow. So nu Muslimin. So three words, they're there, right? They're actually there. It's not implied. Okay, as opposed to kana, huwa. Yeah, that's implied. Okay?
Oh yeah, anything.
So anything, if it comes after the noon, there's the pronoun. There's the pronoun. Qalu, there's the pronoun. But if it's not there at all, there's nothing there, then it's implied.
Only place where it
Is
comes
with-
implied is huwa and
And huwa and hiya. But we're going to see in the present tense later on in units, whatever, that it's actually very common. It will come afterwards. It'd be very common to have implied. So they say in Arabic, لولا الحذف والتقدير لفهم نحو الحمير. So were it not that words were implied, this was implied. Okay, great. There's a word that's a predicate, but it's implied. Oh my God. There's a pronoun that's implied, and this is dropped, and that's implied, and this everything. Then donkeys would understand grammar. لولا الحذف والتقدير لفهم نحو الحمير. Right? Were it not for words being dropped and words being implied, donkeys would understand grammar. But that's the nature of things, right? And that's in reality, it's because it's not because we're studying Arabic, it's because we're studying language. If you look at the grammar of anything, it's extremely complex.
this.
Right? Let's do the physics of my body right now. So if you were to do the math of my body, you'd say, let's assume Farid Dingle is an oblong, because it's easier to work with. You make modeling. The actual physics of what's happening is I'm a liquid. The liquid inside is kind of liquid, kind of solid. The liquid is even, the flow of the blood up on one side and down the other side, and all the physics that keep my body standing is extremely complex. If you do the physics of how I stand, it's extremely complex. So we simplify and simplify and simplify it. But the reality, we're looking at language. If you took any language from the street of anywhere and tried to take it apart grammatically, it's extremely complex. right? Hey, apostrophe. How is that a sentence? Exclamation mark. How is it a sentence? Right? If it has an exclamation mark, it has to be a sentence. So how is hey a sentence? Oh, well, it's implied is I call upon you, but I'm not really stating what I'm saying. If you analyze, so it seems complex when we're studying Arabic. It's not that it's Arabic is complex. It's that you're actually taking apart a sentence. You know, it's called parsing a sentence, right? Like when you take apart a sentence, it's actually complex.
So the other fact I see, I know people say Arabic is easy to learn, but for me it looks like very complex. The reason is we are not used to this kind of learning. Basically, you take a word, this word will have the pronoun, you'll have the past tense, you have the future, the entire thing. There will be so many meaning for one particular word, right?
Yeah.
But just by the fatha, dhamma,
Right.
and the placing of word.
And so what we're doing right now is looking at grammar. So it's just grammar itself, right? So we can ask Brother Khalid. Brother Khalid's here. Brother Khalid, can I ask a question? So you're doing, they do grammar, right? You're doing grammar at school, right? So they're doing grammar, and that's not a normal thing to do at school.
It's not. Yeah.
Right, I remember my school. I remember in grade 9 they handed out a sheet on colons, on semicolons once. Like we don't do grammar, like we don't do analysis, i.e., we don't do understanding. The old world, if you're doing Latin, if you're doing English, you're doing Arabic, that's all you do, because I actually want to understand what people are saying, and you analyze 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And you're kind of doing trivium, kind of. That kind of thing, grammar stage, and they're doing the trivium, right? So all these different levels of understanding and interacting with knowledge, as opposed to, I don't want you to interact with knowledge, I want you to produce. We're in the industrial stage now. Education is not for education. Education is for producing workers. That's what I want you, and that's how it's even sold. Get grades so that you get a job. That's how we market it. But that's not what education was about, right? So what we're tasting is an old way of doing things, which is like actually understanding things. Okay, but anyway, simply put, what was it? Inni kunta, what was it? What sentence we just did? Kanu muslimin. So I asked the question, why is it muslimin and not muslimun? And the answer is because it's plural. No, because muslimun and muslimin are both plural. Okay, then what's the difference between muslimun and muslimin? One's accusative and one's nominative. Okay, so why specifically did you choose accusative? Because the predicate of kana is accusative. Thank you very much. That's all I'm interested in.
The predicate
Of kana is
always-
accusative.
Yeah, it's always accusative.
There we go.
It's always accusative.
There we go.
The question was why Muslim mean and not Muslim.
And we say, because Muslimun will be a nominative, and that would be a different structure. The structure is kana, subject, predicate. Kana al-mataru khafifan. Kanu muslimin. Right? And not muslimun. And so when our grammarian, he was talking to a Bedouin, right? And the Bedouins, they just spoke Arabic because they're not interacting with anybody else. They're just speaking normal Arabic, right? So he asked, he said, like, why do you say, like, when do you say Muslimun? When do you say Muslimin? He says, I don't say Muslimun. You just said it a minute ago because they didn't even know that he was saying it. Like, so half the time we do grammar and we don't even realize it. We're doing very complex grammar, we don't realize it. I remember teaching English or working on English textbooks, and they say in English there's 7 different categories of adjective. And when those different adjectives come in, you will automatically put them in this order. So if you say, for example, you don't say a Japanese green car, you say a green Japanese car. Like, okay. Why is it right? Why is it wrong? I don't know. But then if you keep asking somebody and you interview just people on the street, you will eventually find out there are 7 categories of adjective, and this is the order they go in. If you were to put them all in a row, the native speaker of English would put them in this level. So he has a very complex system in his head. He has no idea how that works. No idea. He didn't even know it's there, right?
Last year I was teaching my daughter.
My
daughter's in fourth grade. I was teaching her the exact concept, and I was okay. I didn't know that like that. You need to follow that.
Yeah, but your brain knows it without knowing it. However that works, right? It's a different side of the brain and these kind of things. It's actually quite a complex system. Just like I stand without knowing how I stand. The math involved in my standing is extremely complex, but toddler plays, and works it out, right? Like I use electrons without knowing what they are, right? and I make up, it's a theory you just made up. There's something on an electron, which is a wave, particle. We don't even know what it is. But yeah, I use it. Yeah, I'm using it. We don't even know what's going on. Anyway, so things, when you analyze them, they're much more complex than we realize. Okay, Bismillah? Go ahead.
كانوا قبل ذلك محسنين.
So why not muhsinun?
محسنين.
Yeah, so why not?
It is again.
Good.
Acquisition.
Good. So كانوا قبل ذلك محسنين. Before that, they used to excel in good. Okay, and so this is before Yawm al-Qiyamah, or before, I can't remember the verse now, but this is very important. Why should I do good? Because one day you're going to need that. Right? One day you're going to need that. You had, for example, a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every single morning, say, oh Allah, please provide for me. What, are you starving? Why do you make dua like that? Well, do you know where you're going to die? You could die in a concentration camp in Congo. How did you get to Congo, for crying out loud? But I had a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I used to ask him, Allah, please provide for me. Please look after me. Right? And you kept that relationship, and then it helped. Right? And so that's what the Prophet said, تَعَرَّفَ عَلَى اللَّهِ فِي الرَّخَاءِ يَعْرِفْكَ فِي الشِّدَّةِ. Get to know Allah when things are easy, and He'll know you when things are hard. Right? And so that's the thing. Right? May Allah protect us all. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan rasulullah, ashhadu anna hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. Allah Akbar, Allah. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آتي سيدنا محمد الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وبعث مقام المحمود الذي وعدته إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. Okay, Bismillah.
Actually, can I ask you, even before the adhan is completed, you're already saying you have to wait for the adhan to complete?
There's debate, because when you hear the adhan, that's another whole. So we have a whole science of grammar, and we have another science of what's called usul al-fiqh, or it's kind of part of that. Is when you heard the adhan, does the word adhan mean the whole adhan? Or does it mean like when he finished the adhan? Like,
when the adhan is recited, my
Yeah.
understanding, what is told me is whatever the caller says, you have to repeat it,
yeah.
and you have to wait till the adhan
Yeah.
to finish to say.
Yeah, so
whatever
whether or
the-
not you have to wait, that's an issue of debate, and that goes back to a concept, which is, do you call the whole thing the adhan, or do you call any part of the adhan the adhan? Like, I heard the beginning of the adhan. Can you say, I heard the adhan? Right? You know what I mean? So that's, inshallah, this is a fiqh discussion, inshallah.
No, I'm not
Yeah.
arguing, because this strikes me, because that's how I grew up. Like, basically,
Yeah.
you have to repeat what he has to say,
And then wait to the
after
end.
finish, then you say,
Okay. Inshallah, we'll research it, inshallah. Okay. The next.
كنتم خير أمة
Good.
أخرجت
Why is it not khayru?
immediately كنتم accusative
Okay, so where's the subject then? Where's the subject of kana?
كنتم
Kuntum, right? You were or you are. Kuntum khayra ummatin. So why ummatin?
because after that anything can be like
Okay, but so then why specifically? So yes, that's true. So the kana is not affecting the word ummatin, but why specifically ummatin?
because it's
So in English we say you were the best nation. In Arabic you say the best of nation. That's how you say it, the best of nation. You say, I saw the tallest of mountain, meaning the tallest mountain. Okay, so khayra ummatin means the best nation. But the structure is of, right? Khayra ummatin ukhrijat nas. Now it says ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhawna 'anil munkar. Right? So what if we don't do amr bil ma'ruf and nahy anil munkar? Right? And this goes back to the first ayah. The first ayah says everybody was all fine until and then people started questioning what's right and what's wrong. And calling people out and say, hey, this is right and what's wrong. So everybody's drinking. Hey, everyone's fine. Why are you making a big deal about it? Everyone's mixing. Hey, why are you making a big deal about it? Brothers, you should be over there. Oh, why are you being strict? You've caused fitna. Don't cause fitna. Right? We'll hear this, right? And it's like, well, that's true. Because if there's something that's right and something that's wrong, and then somebody comes and says, this is wrong, some people accept it and some people don't. Right? So yeah, you will cause some tension, but that has to be there. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you are the best of people, you command the right and you forbid the wrong. Right? And so for someone like myself, right, I'm coming to California, one of the things I fear Allah concerning, among many things, is that I came to California and I did not defend the rights of the natives. The people of California. Where are the people of California? 90% of them were killed. Did we even study at school? Now it's going to come into the school curriculum soon. Right, we're talking about the Californian genocide. That will be a thing that they'll study in history books soon. Maybe next year, the year after that, be like, oh yeah, your kid comes from school. Yeah, you know, we live in a country that we killed 90% of the people who lived here. But that hasn't been in the textbooks for the last 150 years because we don't like that. It was only in 2018 or 2019, they said, we're sorry that we wiped out 90% of the population of California and we paid people to kill them. Sorry, whoops. Right? And you expect people to care about Gaza. Right? Right? It's like, this is the country we live in. A country, right? It's like, you know.
I just know that like it bought it from Mexico.
Yeah, we bought it from Mexico, but did you know 90%? So think about the people, you know, let's imagine right now with your eyes right now, over there, just imagine, let's say over here in the field, somebody was paid to go and kill these people, take the children from the family and go and take them to a church and change their name, send them somewhere else. That's what happened. That happened in Canada, the same thing. That's the history of Canada. This is stolen land, stolen children, kill people. That's how it worked. The conquistadors, conquest of, the conquistadors when they walked into Brazil. Horrible satanic behavior. That's how it all began. So you say, did you command the right and forbid the wrong? Did you say, hey, did you go to a mufti and say, Sheikh, you know, I don't know how this works. Like, if there are people who are kuffar and some other kuffar come along and kill them and take their land, do I have to defend their rights or not? So then then what did we give? We didn't do da'wah. We came and we just took. You didn't give anything to America. You just came here and made money. But the haqq of America is command the right and forbid the wrong. You know, brother, in humanity, I believe you can do whatever you want, but I don't think you'll be a happy person if you marry somebody of the same gender. And I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, like I really care about you. I'm not trying to change you. I'm not trying to throw my religion down your throat, but that's the haqq that America has on us. Be quiet. Right? It's difficult. Obviously, in the workplace, it's like you can't say anything. Gaza, no go. LGBTQ plus, no go. Everything's no go. And so then who's going to stand up for the right and forbid the wrong? So Allah subhanahu says, you are the best of people because you command the right and forbid the wrong. You stand up and say, this is wrong, you know? This is wrong. You know? And it's a shame that, for example, oftentimes it's kuffar that do it more than us. Who's cares about the environment? Not me. You know? So like, it's an issue. So this is command the right and forbid the wrong. We are the best ummah because we command the right and forbid the wrong. If we do not command the right and forbid the wrong, it's like, it's okay, don't make a fitna, don't make a fitna, don't make a fitna, don't make. So you're never going to do anything. Nobody prayed Fajr, doesn't matter. Nobody's doing the halal, doesn't matter. Everybody's doing the haram, doesn't matter. I went on Hajj, nobody prayed Fajr. The whole bus is like, subhanAllah. They were just going to keep going. They said, stop the bus for crying out loud. Stop the bus. Stop the bus. We're going to pray. They're like, everyone's asleep, don't worry about it. Like going Hajj. Right? And you go on Hajj and they're going to be like, they're selling meat right next to the haram. It's from where? From France. What? Nobody says anything. Nobody says anything. And it's like, you're the best ummah because you command the right and forbid the wrong. As long as you stop commanding the right and forbid the wrong, you're not the best ummah. Right? So may Allah protect us and give us, we also have to have wisdom, we have to know some details. But it's an important thing, okay? So kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrajat. Let's just go one more al-ayah and then we're going to pray.
قالوا سبحان ربنا إنا كنا ظالمين.
So glorified beyond description is our Lord. Indeed, we were ظالمين, not ظالمون. Predicate of kana. Inna kunna. So kunna is two words. Kunna. Were we oppressors, right? And inshallah, after the commercial break, we will learn what is the opposite of dhulm. Dhulm is oppression. What is the very opposite of dhulm? Right? What is the... there must be a sign in coding for like opposite. I don't know, but no, not equal to, that's not what it is, but the opposite.
Equal to negation.
I don't know. The opposite of dhulm is a very interesting word in Arabic. Okay, inshallah, we'll talk about that inshallah after Maghrib. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Subhanallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Okay, can we pause it?
Yes, of course.
Well, we just continue to 8:45 now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Then maybe we can just pause the recording at the end and just. What I was thinking is just talking to the brothers, and then maybe later on I can just do a little video and send it on the group. They'll say, you know, hi.
Okay,
This is
perfect.
what's- Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, no problem. Let me go ahead and this one, this one. And you have the mic, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Let's start, inshallah.
Yes.
Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So let's continue where we left off.
We are continuing.
Mhm.
قالوا سبحان ربنا إنا كنا ظالمين.
Zalimin, right? So we have zalimin, good. Okay, so what was the difference? What was the opposite of dhulm then? What would you imagine? Use the word dhulm in your. Dhulm, we say the odd, right? Usually you'd say like the opposite, you ask a normal person, what is the opposite of dhulm? You say adalat, right? Justice.
Yeah.
Oppression, the opposite of oppression is justice, right? He's a zalim, or is, you know. And so what is the opposite of dhulm in Arabic is actually hikmah, which is really interesting. Because you think, how is wisdom, hikmah, how is that the opposite of oppression?
Will not do oppression.
Right? And so what is hikmah is doing the right, knowing is putting the right thing in the right place. And what is oppression is putting the wrong thing or the right thing in the wrong place, or the wrong thing in the wrong place. So this is very important because, okay, there's obvious signs of oppression. Somebody's beating somebody up and killing somebody. Okay, but what if, for example, I'm nice to the wrong person? Classic. What's my role? Community member. Right? Sheikh, please give me some advice. Sheikh, please give me some advice. Oh, don't worry, sister, I'll give you some advice. You care more about her than your wife, subhanAllah. You seem to care. You have all the time in the world to talk to some sister in the community, but not your wife. Oh, brother, you know, I heard your son wants to do hifz. You know, you can do this and do this and do this. Here's some advice. And he sends me a message because I get a kick out of this. We get a kick out of it, right? So you give to the community. You don't give to yourself. You didn't give to your children. That's a dhulm. It's like, how did I do dhulm? I was helping people. Yeah, but you weren't helping the person who needed you most. Subhanallah. Right? You weren't helping the person who needed you most. And you thought you were doing something good. Right? Or you talk to somebody in a certain way, you know, whatever it is, you're too nice to your kids, right? Can grandparents do oppression to their grandchildren? Yes, by giving them candy when they don't deserve it, right? You have a system, your son is pre-diabetic, right? And he's like, I know he's crying. Please do anything when he's at your house with the grandparents. Please don't give him candy. And they're like, it's okay, right? And it's like, the kid's pre-diabetic. It's not an issue of that I'm being strict, but the grandparents, that's okay. Or the grandparents siding like, oh, he's young. He's not young, he's being rude. There's a difference. You know, because you're dealing with him on a daily basis. There's a line that you're working with your kid and the grandparents. Sometimes they will like, it's okay. Right? And so they might be too nice and you oppress somebody. Right? Putting the wrong thing in the wrong place. Right? I'm praying, what's wrong with that? You're praying at work for how long do you want to pray at work for? 2 hours, mashallah. And brother, I'm praying, this is a religious obligation, I'm praying for 2 hours. So you're doing the right thing at the wrong time. You can't do that. You can't do that. You're doing something wrong. Break time, everybody has lunch break time like anybody else. Just because it's prayer doesn't have to be longer, right? That it doesn't allow you to do that. Brother, I'm allowed to park here. It's Jummah, I have to go to Jummah. So you can't park here. You're doing the right thing in the wrong way, right? And so that's why hikmah is so important. Many people, they wrong people, but there's no hikmah. Right? You're doing the wrong thing. Right? You end up wronging yourself, wronging other people, doing this, doing that, overcommitting. right? You're committed to too many things. Your kids, teenagers do that. And then that's also the thing with, again, not picking on women, but women in the West, it's like you're overcommitted, right? So you got work and you've got this and you've got that and you've got this. So great. Your career is fantastic. May Allah give you all the tawfiq in your career because you lost your marriage over it. It happens, right? It happens. And sometimes it's like this. It's either this or this. Like, yeah, politics is more important to me than the marriage or than the kids or whatever it is. This is who I am. Her dream is to become the prime minister. Her dream is, that's like, that's fantastic. I'm not picking on women specifically, but women often, it's like they give too much heart and you're giving yourself to too many people. So I'm giving a halaqah over here and I'm giving this and doing this. And like, you didn't know where your priorities were. You didn't have fiqh al-awlawiyat, didn't have fiqh priorities. You ended up doing dhulm and you were trying to do good things. And who got you to do that? Shaitan. Shaitan says, this is good and this is good, this is good. Yeah, but where's your priorities? That's all. You're not expected to do everything. You're expected to do priorities, right? If everything else is done, fine, go and have a multi-billion-dollar company. It's got nothing to do with me, right? As a husband, can I limit? My wife has property and she sells and buys and sells. Can I stop her? It's not my business whether I can say whether she leaves the house or not, and I can say maybe she's doing things or not. But she owns property, and she rents it out. She has an agent, and she rents out this thing, and she's made $1 trillion. Well, it's got nothing to do with me. I'm not going to stop her making money, but balance. There always has to be balance, and you have to put things in the right perspective. Right? So without wisdom, we have oppression. And so that in Arabic, they refer to a al-bi'r al-madhluma. Al-bi'r al-madhluma. Madhluma means wronged. Al-bi'r means a well. So when you dig a well in the wrong place, they call it bi'r madhluma. It was dug fantastically. You put so much effort in the wrong place. There's no water there. Right? So all that effort, right? So let's say LGBTQ+, right? So much care and concern. This man has so much care and concern for this other man. Wow. Like the level of wafat that it had is amazing. But in the wrong place. Like that emotions are not supposed to be given to that man. You can have loyalty to a man. You can't have romantic feelings towards a man. It's in the wrong place. It's good in the wrong place. Your colleague at work, you gave her a hug. She was crying. What am I supposed to do? She's breaking down and you like just stand there like, so give her a hug. Good thing in the wrong way. You have to be compassionate, but the wrong way, you don't do that. Wrong way. Right? So, very important principle. Inna kunna dhalimin, indeed we were dhalimin, we did oppression. This one now. Mimma kana fi, where they were in. Right? So he cast them out, he caused them to leave from the place that they were in. Right? And so for the Christians, they look at Sayyidina Adam as the original sin. He's the reason why everything is bad. He did a sin, and we inherited his sin when you reach puberty, and you become sexually mature. Okay, then you have the sign of his sin, the Adam's apple, and the only way you can get rid of the sin is by Allah sacrificing himself, Jesus dying on the cross. Right, and he's pure because he's not part of the sin, and you're part of the sin. Right? Because he doesn't have a father and you have a father. So, right, that's how it works. Whereas we see Sayyidina Adam is not the original sin, the original tawbah. What do you do as a human being? When you make a mistake, you get up and say, Ya Allah, please forgive me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive you. Don't worry. Get up again. I'm sorry. I messed up. Everything I messed up in my life. Ya Allah, please forgive me. I'm sad. I never want to do it again. Allah forgive you. Don't worry about it. See, they're very, when we think about Christianity, you'll think about they're all happy and everything like that. It's actually a very dark religion. It's very scary. A lot of very negative things in it, very oppressive. There's no way out apart from through Jesus. Like Allah said, no, here I am. The Sahaba on Hajj are like, Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. The Prophet sometimes, you don't have to shout. Allah's close. You don't have to like, I need to go make tawbah in a masjid. Why do you have to go make tawbah in a masjid? Make tawbah now. Yeah, but I'm in a nightclub. It's the wrong. While you're leaving the nightclub, say, Astaghfirullah, I'm never going to be here ever again, but I'm half drunk. Make tawbah. Yeah, so many of us, unfortunately, we're just like Christians. Sheikh, make dua for me. You make dua. Like, what do you do? Make dua. Like, what does Sheikh do? Like magic wand? right? Yeah, inshallah, somebody's going to make dua, right? You should ask righteous people to make dua, but it's like, you talk to Allah. Allah's asking you. Your son is in ICU. You need Allah more than I. When you feel it, your dua is closer than mine. So, right? You're the traveler, right? You're the whatever it is, right? So we think like Christians, unfortunately, right? And may Allah protect us. But this is there. So the way we look at Sayyidina Adam is, he's the one who taught us what should we do when we make a mistake. Not he's the one who ruined it for us, right? What should you do and make a mistake? Kullu ibn Adam khata. Every single son of Adam makes mistakes day in, day out. You're a joke. If you saw your life, you're like, oh my God, like, is this serious or not? Like, where are the serious Muslims? It's like, if this is Muslims, like, where's the serious Muslims? خَيْرُ خَطَّائِينَ التَّوَّابُونَ. And the best people who like make lots of mistakes are the people who are always saying, Ya Allah, I'm sorry. Astaghfirullah, 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 astaghfirullah. Continually, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, go ahead, forgiven every single thing, and I've turned all your bad deeds into good deeds. What do you want better than that? How positive Islam is, how very negative their religion is. Very negative, it's scary. Right? And they come make you feel like, oh, you're like negative, you're bad, and you're oppressive and this, and we're like a nice religion. No, it's a very negative religion. Very, very dark, very scary. And that's why there's so much hate for religion in general in the West, because that's what they went through. Very, very kind of negative. Okay, this one now.
ولولا فضل الله عليكم ورحمته.
لَكُنْتُمْ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. And were it not, لَوْلَا, were it not for, right? لَوْلَا فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ. Were it not for Allah's grace towards you, وَرَحْمَتُهُ, and His pure kindness, لَكُنْتُمْ, you would have indeed been of the khasirin, the people who have lost everything. Lost the dunya and the akhirah, right? So this is how the believer is. You don't say, I've been on Hajj, I'm a good person. I pray and he's bad. I wear hijab, she doesn't. You say, لَوْلَا فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيَّ. If Allah didn't choose me over him and bless me over him, I would be doing worse. So when you see good deeds, you're more humble as opposed to being proud. Allah bless me even though I don't deserve it. So I'm even more brokenhearted. I feel more even bad than myself. SubhanAllah, this person is a miskeen. This person doesn't pray, they don't fast, something happens to them, they don't connect with Allah. They're poor, like they don't have anything. Why did Allah choose me? Well, even though I don't deserve it, even though I did this, even though I did this. So you feel even more brokenhearted. You feel more even humble, more embarrassed to talk to them. When you talk to them, you feel embarrassed, as opposed to this kind of attitude, right? So many religious people have attitude, right? One of my teachers, he says, you know what? You know, sometimes people who aren't religious, they say, you know what I don't like about religion? I don't like shuyukh. I don't like the Mawlvi. It's like annoying, you know? And my teacher said, I don't like them either. Like half of them are like that. It's like you know, it's like they talk down on you. And it's like Ibn Umar, he said, taqwa is you don't see yourself as above anybody. That's taqwa. Strange. You might think taqwa is you don't do the haram. The taqwa is you don't see yourself above anybody. I'm the lowest person here. That's it. Right? And this is how, if it weren't for, and you look at somebody, oh my God, this guy is like, he's like dirt, he's married to a guy. If Allah didn't choose you, you'd be married to an animal. You'd be there saying whatever rights, the rights to marry animals. Oh, this guy, you know, he's like he's an alcoholic. You'd be on heroin if it wasn't for him, or for Allah's blessings. You'd be doing, look at this guy. See how bad he is to his wife. You'd be doing worse to your children. You'd be abusing your children as well. So don't look down upon simple people. Say that you say Alhamdulillah. Whenever you see somebody do the haram, say Allah graced me, Alhamdulillah. Huge ni'mah that Allah saved me from that horrible sin. I would be doing much worse. Right? وَلَوْلَا فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ. If it were not for Allah's grace upon you, وَرَحْمَتُهُ, and His mercy, لَكُنْتُم مِّنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. You'd have lost everything. Your money, your self-respect, your health, your everything, you just lost. You'd be like, you wouldn't even be worth spitting at. May Allah protect us.
It works the other way too, when you feel you are deserving. Like for example, when I went to Hajj, like there's so many the people I met who waited for like 7-8 years because their country has this rule where only you can go once. Like that.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'm here, like, so my first try, and alhamdulillah, I got in. I was able to perform Hajj. So what you said, the examples are good giving. This is on probably the opposite side of it, but it's probably somewhat same because
yeah. But so the point of view is you don't deserve it. What was that called? That's called being a slave. Like this is a slave. The slave sits here. And he's like, Yes, sir. Yes. I'm on the floor. I don't own a single thing. Whatever you give me to eat, I eat. Whatever you tell me to do, I do not deserve. As opposed to, now the slave is given freedom. The slave is given shoes, and the slave is given clothes, and we give him a car, and how does he feel now? You're still a slave, for crying out loud. You don't have anything. You don't deserve. That whole thing is, I don't. Iyyaka na'budu means I know that you deserve, and I don't deserve. Right? That's as opposed to, why is my food late? Why is this? Why is it raining? Why is it cold? Why? Right? Who designed this kind of world, right? This attitude, I don't deserve. So you're feeling not that you don't deserve, this is slavehood. Slavehood, it means being a slave of Allah. It's ibadah. That is ibadah. Like, I don't deserve this. And it's just your kind. You eat some food and you cry. I don't deserve to eat. There's somebody over there who's not eating. This person's not eating. Why me? Alhamdulillah. So then you enjoy it. And then you're eating this, but now it's all ibadah. As opposed to, man, they forgot the salt. What's this? Why does she cook like this? Like, subhanallah, right? This different world, right? So that feeling that I don't deserve this. Why did Allah bring me all the way here? You know, I had a friend, convert from Oregon. He's in Oregon, then he's in Jordan, and then he's teaching English in Jordan, not so good for business. He goes to like eastern province of Saudi Arabia, and then sometimes in Riyadh, he gets cancer, dies in Saudi, buried in Baqi'. It's like, subhanallah, you're buried next to the Sahaba, subhanallah. Right, the Prophet is just there, right next to you, subhanallah. And you're from Oregon, right? And it's like, where did you come from, you know? And he's African American, so like, you're from, I don't know, East Africa, or West Africa originally, brought in slavery, abused, this, and like this kid, and then this happens, like, where did you even come from, right? Like, why am I even here? Like, half Swiss, half English. Dad becomes Muslim with Peshawar, like, why am I? Like, it's like, right? It's like, subhanallah, right? We don't deserve these things. And feeling that you don't deserve it, this is ibadah. When you get in the car, like, subhanallah, do I deserve any of this? Now the car is a blessing, as opposed to, I need to get a new car, you know? 2002, it's like, you know, I need 2025, right? This is old now, you know?
Same perspective. Sometimes I feel like people of Gaza, even though I see them suffering and all those, I feel they are much closer of the hereafter than
Of course, yeah.
I'm too far.
We're in the situation. It's like the wealthy and the poor. Like, the wealthy you're gonna be standing there for ages answering questions on every single thing. The poor's like, you don't have any questions to ask. I didn't have anything. You know, you're just born on the streets of Dhaka, and that's it. You don't even know your parents. You can't walk because rats ate your toes when you were 2. You know, you pray, you don't pray. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like, just go. Go to Jannah.
Only way I console,
Yeah.
seeing every day whatever the
Yeah.
is going through. That's the only way I console. These guys are much closer and
Yeah, they're much closer.
temporary. That's the only way I can console what is
Yeah.
happening.
Alhamdulillah, subhanallah. Bismillah.
وقال الكافر يا ليتني كنت ترابا.
Turaban. Why turaban as opposed to? So kuntu. Yeah, lately means if only I. Kuntu, if I were. Turaban. So it is the predicate of kuntu. So this is kun tu turaban. Khafifan. Right? Kuntu turaban. Kana zaydun tawilan. Right? Kuntu turaban. If only I were dust. So when is he going to say that? The kafir will see on Judgment Day. He'll be like, subhanallah.
Only you were there.
Kuntu, if I were. Kunta, anta. Kuntu, and if I were. Okay? So the kafir will see on Judgment Day, he will see that, for example, outside there's some rabbits as we're driving in. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring absolute justice to every single thing that ever existed. The rabbit, they kicked the other rabbit. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, on this day, on this time, did you kick the rabbit? Yes. Justice. Is your justice served? Yes. Okay, goodbye. Then they will turn to dust. They'll turn to dust. They will stop to existing. So they have justice, but there's no heaven and hell. They don't have that for animals. So the what's it called? The kafir will say, well, my business didn't do very well, did it? Okay, so I'm just going to claim bankruptcy. right? File for bankruptcy. I don't, okay, the believer, mashallah, he made it. He made it, he believed in Allah, he made sins and Allah forgave him, khalas, he's going to Jannah. The kafir is like, khalas, I'll just claim back. Can I have the same thing? I'll just go in the queue with go in the line with the animals. You say, yeah, laytani kuntu turaba. If only I was in that situation. And I'll say, no, you're in this queue. What queue is this? Kuffar. You knew the truth, you rejected the truth. Okay, but I want to go back. No. Is there any discussion? No. What's your answer? Hell. When's it going to stop? Never. Very scary. Right? Very, very scary. And so he's like, if only I was in the category of the people who just stopped, right? And they'll say to Malik, to the angel of hell, just finish us off. Like, please just tell Allah to finish us off. And they will wait for 50,000 years for the response in hell. And it will say, no. اخسأوا فيها ولا تكلمون. Be wretched, get out of my face, and don't even talk to me. 50,000 years, right? And then, this, and then eternity starts. But this is the most important thing for me in my life, is when the doors of hell close, what if they never open again? So you drank and Allah didn't forgive you. You're there for, I don't know, let's say you're there for 1,000,000 years. Eventually the doors will open. The doors will open eventually. And we know the Prophet ﷺ told us about the last person who leaves hell, he'll be burnt to a crisp, and he'll come, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, oh, go to this. And he's given such a great thing in Jannah. He's like, yeah, Allah, are you mocking me? Like, you're giving me this? Like, the lowest level in Jannah is this? Like, are you mocking? Is this a joke or something? It's like, no, it's not. You have this and you have more. Like, subhanAllah, the lowest level of Jannah is like so great. So but what if the doors of hell don't open? What are you going to do? And as we mentioned last week, it all starts with, here's a sunnah. He said, I don't need to do it. That's just extra. And then the fard. It's okay, Allah forgive, it's haram, but once, whatever. So you accept from yourself. First you accepted yourself, then not do the sunnah. It's okay, it's just sunnah. You have time to do the Quran, I'm just going to watch this reels instead, YouTube reels instead. You have time to do the right thing, I'm not going to do it. Just don't bother doing it. So you accepted the suboptimal. Now you're accepting something else, the haram. It's okay. And now your iman is on the edge. And then you're complaining on Judgment Day. Hey, why did I die as a kafir? I gave you iman. You blew it, and you blew it. That's the scariest thing for us. And so that's why we get scared when you leave the sunnah. It's like, oh man, right? Again, you can't do every single thing, but those things like, yeah, I should do this. Right? You're saying the whole week you couldn't pick up the mushaf. The whole week. Yeah, I have triplets. The whole week. Like, they never slept, ever. I don't believe you. Like, okay, at the end of the day, you couldn't open the mushaf and just look at it. You couldn't do this. No. You didn't have a phone. No. You couldn't play it. Like, you couldn't even play it. No. Really? I don't believe you. I don't believe you couldn't even listen to it for 3 seconds. Do something. But you winning the day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, no Quran. Sunnahs, later when I retire, when this happens, when that happens, everything's Bismillah, eating with your left hand, yeah, but it's not a big deal, it's not haram, not haram, not haram. You change now your immune system, your iman is now the halal haram. And then you start going to, well, not all the madhahib say it's haram. One sheikh says it's halal. And now you're down here, and it's weaker and weaker and weaker. So it all started up there, right? That's where it starts, right? So you applied for your job today, right? 10 years later, he still doesn't have a job. Where did that come in? His attitude 10 years ago, right? It's fine to be unemployed at certain times, whatever. Like, I don't need to be employed right now. It's not a priority right now. But the attitude is there, like, yeah, I understand bills, I understand these things. When the attitude changes and you have kids today, 40-year-old teenagers, right? They never had the attitude of go to work. Never. At school, it's like, yeah, whatever. And then, yeah, mommy, daddy could get me a car. And then it's like, no. And then 10 years, where did that start? 10 years ago with mentality, right? I'm not saying you have that mentality, but I'm saying it's a mentality, right? You had a mentality here and it trickle, and then boom. And then the Dajjal comes. The Prophet ﷺ told us, you're waiting for the Dajjal to come, because when the Dajjal comes, you're not going to survive. You don't have the iman to survive. You're waiting for your country to go into a war zone, and you're waiting for your child to die in your arms, and you flip, and like you can't, you're waiting for a divorce, and like, oh my God, Like you're waiting for, I don't know, something happening in your life that shakes you and your iman disappears because you didn't look after it. That's what it is. So look after your iman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you something. وَلَا إِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. Thank Allah. Nurture that iman. I'll give you more. I'll give you dunya and akhirah, not a problem. But you wasted it, and you wasted it, and now your deen is shaky. And you're questioning every single thing. Okay, I'll go to a nightclub and make tawbah. Fine, keep going to that nightclub. What's going to happen? You will eventually leave Islam. That's what will happen. You just keep doing the haram, haram, haram. It's like, right? And you might be going to Jummah. But you're like, who knows if it's real or not, right? You're leaving Jummah, you're telling your friend, Islam is true for us. See how they start thinking? You talk to people like that. People start thinking like that, like Islam is true relatively. Like it's true, Islam is true for us, but Christianity is true for them. Kufr. Even though you're at Jummah. Like I'm still Muslim. I mean, I don't eat haram food, but I don't think it's a problem to eat haram food. Kufr. How did you get there? Bit by bit by bit. So nothing happens overnight, but it happens. So when you first start saying it's okay for me to do something that Allah doesn't want me to do, right? Could you have sat down when you drank? Yeah. Then why do you do it? It's extra. If Allah likes it, do it. But I don't need to do that. The attitude. We don't look at whether you hit the ground or not. You see the trajectory of the plane. Right? So we always have to be very, very careful with ourselves and with our kids, what's happening. I remember my dad, he used to live above me, and once he looked down at me and said, Fareed, if your kids aren't better than you, then you've messed up. If your kids are not better than you, then you've messed up. Right? So yeah, that's what we have to do. Right? And that doesn't come by making them do stuff, it has to come through our personal change. The kids see that we're changing. Mommy and daddy messed up, we do certain things that are wrong, but we're willing to change. And we're showing the kids, this is what you do when you mess up, right? We used to watch stuff like this, but we don't watch like that stuff anymore because that's haram. We used to go to weddings like this, but we don't do that anymore. But you used to do it, yeah. Mommy and daddy made mistakes in the past, but mommy and daddy are not going to make mistakes anymore. And they're like, oh, really? That means if I make a mistake, I'll change? Yes. Thank you. That's called parenting as opposed to being fake, right? Son, don't smoke, and you're smoking. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. May Allah forgive us all. Okay, I'm not sure. We're planning to go to 8:45. Yeah, I'll stop here. So that was our last sentence. And Allah was and ever will be Ghafuran Rahiman. Right? So we'll stop there, inshallah. Subhanallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.